Hello, everyone, and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there is greed. This channel is for the low to medium risk style investor, people who are new to investing or trying to make investing a less stressful, more simplified thing in their life. So many channels talk about investing as if it's a very complicated thing. My goal is to help build a community where we can look at very simple ways to take the stress out of investing and make it something that you can be fun and excited about. Today's video, we're going to be focusing on Bitcoin, where it is at, where it might be going. And I can't start this video without talking about where we are at in the fear and greed index. Right now, over the last year, we are at about neutral. We were in this accumulation type range here, got up to extreme greed right before the ETF was approved. And then once it was approved and wicked above 49,000, so far it seems to be a sell the news event. And we're just sitting right in the middle. Macro wise, if you believe in the 4 year cycle of Bitcoin, what do I mean by that? I mean that about every 4 years, give or take, that's when Bitcoin tends to peak. It would be more in line with the second peak of the last bull run. The next halving is coming up. As you can see during the halving years, it does tend to correlate somewhat in the middle of where price will bottom out. You can argue that it was closer to the end on the first halving, in the middle on the second. If you believe this was the top, closer in the middle. However, most of the damage in altcoins of Bitcoin was already done. So closer to the end there. Are we going to get an early top sometime in late 2024, early 2025? Maybe. We will see. I do not know. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, let's throw on one of my favorite indicators. It's the 1020 moving average. That's what MA means. Crossover with Heikin-Ashi signals. And when we look at Bitcoin, you can see this is the first time we have been overbought since the last mega bull run. Now, we have briefly been overbought when it went even a little bit higher. So RSI does not always correlate the price. Same with fear and greed. Sometimes fear will bottom out, go a little bit higher, and the price is still going lower. Something to keep in mind. This top or this overbought area also was last achieved at that mid-cycle top. So Bitcoin seems to be doing something very similar. I just drew a fib from the previous high and low. It wicked up to the 382, settled under the 0.5, and bounced around between the 0.5 and the 786. And so right now, if this is another mid-cycle top, look at this. It wicked up to the 382. Is it settling under the 0.5 and going to bounce around between here and the 786? So the next area down is 36,000. As you can see, we have, with this indicator, a macro sell signal on the weekly. When I say the weekly, if you use TradingView, that's the W up there. You can have monthly, daily, weekly. As far as monthly goes, we haven't had a buy signal or sell signal since back here when it was a buy. So no monthly sell signal yet. When we get this weekly sell signal, when we start with a weekly sell signal, not when we get it after a buy signal, but when, like if we were to, as you can see here, start with a buy, sell, buy. When we start with a sell signal, I went back over the last 4 years, and on average, I'm going from the top of that wick right there. On average, we tend to go down around 15 to 25%. As you can see, 37% would take us to the 786. To get all the way back down here, that's like a 60% drop. Okay, we're not going to get into that. It does look like we're moving down towards the 20 MA, towards this fib level, 36,000. Is it a good time to buy and accumulate right now? Maybe. I do think that better prices are coming. So far, we have only gone down. We haven't gone down 15% yet. We've gone down like 11, 12%. But even if we are to reach this level, the 36,000 level, 35.9, it's not guaranteed that we're going to close there. We might just bounce real quick. Kind of like if you were waiting to sell 49K, we wicked to 49 and above it real quick, and then it got shorted down. So this is where Bitcoin's at right now. Are we going to have a repeat of the last 4 year cycle where we spend a year accumulating in here? Maybe. Something to note, from the very bottom, it was around 6 months to the mid cycle high, and then we spent a year accumulating. We took a year from the bottom to get to this possible mid cycle high. So now are we going to only spend 6 months chopping down and accumulating? Maybe, I don't know. This white line, by the way, is the date of the halving. It's going to be April 22nd, or so people believe. But right now, I do think there is a lot of gravity and energy sending Bitcoin, crypto to this 36,000 level. You have the 20 MA. You have the fact that this sell indicator, usually around 15% or more, which would, those are two things taking us right there. And you have the fib. That's the third thing. Here's a fourth thing, it's also overbought on the weekly. When we go to the last year and look at the daily, what do we see? We are going down. So when you take a look, I'm going to teach you guys something if you don't know what this is. When you take a look at the RSI and it is trending down, and you take a look from the same area of price and it is trending up, we can go there, we can go there. It doesn't matter. It's still upward in that direction. That is known as bearish divergence. Bearish meaning going down, bullish meaning going up. If we had the opposite, like if the RSI was going up and price was going down, that would be bullish divergence. Can I show you an example of that? Excuse me, where RSI is going up and price is going down? Yeah, a little bit right here. You can see that you can take a look at the RSI here. It's going up, okay? And the price was going down. Kind of here. Here, RSI, yeah. You guys get what I'm saying, though, that you look for the RSI to go up and price to go down. That would be bullish divergence. Not the best example. I apologize. If we take a very small time frame look at Bitcoin, you can see yesterday it got in a fight with that fib level, got defeated. It looks like it's getting curled up again to try it again. Will it succeed? Who knows? I would say that this 42.2 range is big. After that, 43. If it gets above 43, then I do wonder if that weekly sell signal will get invalidated and all of a sudden we'll get a buy signal. For that sell signal to get invalidated, it might actually need to get to 44 because I'm looking at where the top of that wick is. So maybe 44 is where that sell signal would get invalidated. If it does turn around and turn green, it's possible. You never know. I will let you guys know, and we may be getting an indication that we're going up. Something to consider, though, if we do go back to this mid-cycle top, what happened? We did get that macro weekly sell signal, went down to the next lower fib, but then look, we had a buy signal. So that is a bit of a fake out. We turned around, we got this long-legged doji, another sell signal, and then we went down. So when we start with a sell signal, sometimes there's things that can happen. I would not personally buy in on the very next buy signal, even though it's possible it could be a reverse. I look for these signals. What do we start out with? Do we start with a buy signal? Do we start with a sell signal? And I'm talking about after we make a big move. So after a big move happens. If we get a buy signal near the end and it's settled down on some fibs, it's oversold, okay. And then I feel better about buying it. Not when it happens and reverses right away. When we move up for a bit, we get a sell signal, then I'm not buying. I'm waiting for it to play out. And this is just last 4-year cycle, what happened in the middle in the accumulation area after selling off. If we were to sell off a bit, let's say it's 15 to 30%, whatever, and then we get a weekly buy signal, that's when I'm looking at buying into Bitcoin or other alts. Again, I look for what the first move is after 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there. I'd say 4 weeks minimum. I like 6 weeks or more because that's how long a lot of these moves do take to play out. Anything else on Bitcoin? I've talked about the 4-year cycle with you guys, something I've noted before, at least on this rainbow chart on blockchaincenter.net, shout out, that each halving, it has gone up a buy zone. So this zone back here, this zone, and the second halving, third halving, accumulate. Are we going to get up to the still cheap zone, which by the halving, if it is going to happen April 22nd, doesn't line up exactly with where this line is. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit, pinpoint it better. So April 22nd, oh, I got the 21st there. Close enough. That fourth box up, that green one, would put us at around 52 to 68. That's not far away. So how long would it take for us to get there? Right now, we are finishing January, February, March, a little bit of April, so about 11 weeks. By the time we get to the halving, could we bottom out here and then shoot back up to that, what did I say, 52,000 level? Maybe. Let's take a more zoomed out view. 52 to, I think it said 68, 69. Yeah, 68, 69. That would be the very top. If we were getting close to breaking all-time highs, once we do, it might be game over. We might indeed get an early bull run. Every 4-year cycle does something different, so we'll see. But yeah, that's not a lot of time, because if the sell signal that we're starting out with is going to take 6 weeks to play out, which is about the average, that's already taken us out to middle of February here. That would mean in a very short time, if we were to measure that out, let's consider that maybe we take the 6 weeks, so 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say we take 6 weeks to get down there, and we start at the 7th week. If we start in the 7th week to get to even just 52, that's a 44% jump in 2 months. About that would be pretty crazy. But have we had a 44% jump inside of 2 months? Well, what did we have here? Let's just take a look. So I didn't pinpoint that perfectly. Let's go back to the yearly so I can do that better. 5-year. That way I can do the weekly. I will look at this better. So if we went from the very bottom of that wick here, I'm going to try to give the benefit of the doubt. So we need 8 bars. How high did these 8 bars go? 62%. So it can be done. That was a very violent move up that we had during the end of quarter 4, Christmas season. That's to be expected. Usually Q4 is a pretty strong time. So it's possible. I know it may not look like it's possible right now, but we will see. I was trying to show whether or not that this sell signal and the halving pattern were contradictory. From the looks of it, to be honest, I thought it was, because if we are to get in this zone, there is not a lot of time left. And I was wondering, well, if this plays out, is there even time to get there? You don't have to look too far back to say that it is possible. So Bullish case, bullish case. If we were to consider the rainbow chart and where it could go, is it possible? Yes, we would need another strong move up. And to be frank, corrections like this are good. They are normal. We can't only be green every week and everything we buy just goes straight up. So, another thing, we have been following this trend line. Trend lines are only good for as long as they're good for. We've broken under this trend line before, so are we possibly breaking under to get back in touch with it? If we did, by the halving, look at that. Where does the trend line meet the halving line? Right at 54. That'll be interesting to see if we are anywhere near this around the halving. I don't know, but we will see. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. That's all I got on Bitcoin for today. Bearish scenario, maybe we go down to 36. I think there's a lot to say that we probably will, but you never know. Things can be different and change with these indicators. Bearish scenario, we get down here. If you compare to the last 4-year cycle after the mid-cycle top, again, we spent 6 months going up, a year chopping between those fib levels. We spent a year going up, so even if we spent 6 months chopping between the 786 and the 0.5, where would that put us? That would put us from January to June, so around here. Our bearish scenario, are we going to spend time chopping around here? Or bullish scenario, is this halving going to put us up into, again, another buy zone where we will once again meet back up with this trend line that Bitcoin has been obsessed with. Even when it goes under, look at this. When it went under, it came back up, rode it up, wicked above. Are we going back under to just come back up and meet with it once again? Hedge your bets. I'm going to wait for this sell signal to play out personally, because I always like to say that time in the market is more important than trying to time the market. And it is also important to be patient. Again, if you just simply look for where the yearly lows are in an asset you like, whether a stock or crypto, there have been many great opportunities to buy. I know there's that feeling of FOMO. Are you going to miss out? Even if we don't get a yearly low, at the very least, you could wait for one of these corrections to play out to the tune of, let's see, 4 to 6 weeks at minimum if we start with the sell signal, and then wait for the next weekly buy signal to get in. At the very least, you could do that if you are worried about missing the Bitcoin bull run or an altcoin when Bitcoin does bull run to new all-time highs, if it does. So everything I said in this video is just my opinion. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I have a lot of knowledge, experience, certification in the field of psychology, consulting, educating, and I like to use those skills to help others. And I'm trying to grow this channel for the value, low to medium risk investor. People who are looking to get in the stocks or even crypto, make sure it's a crypto you like. With stocks, I also like to say make sure it's something you use. Do your own research. Do not invest more than you are able to lose. If you do put in any money into crypto with an investment or even a trade investor mindset, then this has to be money you are okay with not using for at least a year, if not 5. That's where I like to start. If it's money I don't care about for the next 5 years, meaning I could care less what happens to it, if it goes down 50% or not, then hey, if it does do a 5 or 10x, you can happily take profits and just take the stress out. So that's all I got for today. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care.